Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to my space. It's always so nice to have you guys here. If you guys don't know, my name is Simone and I am a witch. And this video is going to probably be a series of videos at some point. I would like to continue this conversation regarding witchcraft and magic, and I think I will call the playlist or this series Magic and a Brew. I don't know if anybody's taken that name, let me know, but that's what I'm thinking of calling it for now. As always, guys, I have notes, okay? So this video is not about me giving you advice on magic. This is just me taking what I know to be true about the magic that I practice, about my witchcraft, and how it has changed my life. This is not a video to convert or to convince anyone that witchcraft is good. That's up to you. But for those of you who are interested to understand based on my experience as a witch for the past decade, this video, is just here to educate you. And I hope that for those of you who have been closed-minded to magic, that it kind of opens you up at least to understand not to judge those who do practice magic. So let's actually dive into this. I'm not going to go too in-depth into this topic just yet because I just feel it's the kind of the first video talking about magic and my practice. Again, I'm not going to go into in depth about my practice because it's very personal to me and it means a lot to me. And there's a lot of you who maybe are witches watching this and you may have your own practice. And again, if you are interested in this video and if my energy resonates with you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel and be a part of our little family here, our little tribe. And also, if you comment, let me know if you are a witch or if you're aspiring to be one, if you're closed off to it, why, and if there's any questions that you have that you would like me to answer in future videos in this series. I would love to answer those questions as best I can, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into this video, you guys. I'm kind of excited for this, and I really hope that this, again, if you're closed-minded to it, that it opens you up a little bit. All right, let's go. Okay guys, so for those of you who might be interested in what I'm drinking, I'm just drinking regular old coffee. It is just a light roasted coffee. The creamer that I use in this coffee is by 𝍊🼼. It's pretty good. I'm giving it a try. It's a walnut barista maple flavored creamer. And it does froth really well when you mix it with your hot beverages. So for those of you who are interested, this is what it's called. Okay guys, so right off the bat, let's go ahead and ask, what is witchcraft? If you look at the textbook definition of witchcraft, I guess, on Google, it's very interesting, the definition, and it pretty much is saying that witchcraft is the practice of magic and it is used for evil purposes or to control others. Now, what I will say is witchcraft is a tool and it's also a way of life. Magic is a tool that is connected to the earth, okay? Many witches that I know, they connect to the earth in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through the elements, whether it's through food with kitchen witchery, whether it's through their home with hearth witchery and bringing the earth into their home. You can be male or female, and to be a witch, you do not have to use witchcraft only for evil. It can be used for evil, just like your words can be used to curse or to bless. It's the same with witchcraft. You can use witchcraft to curse others or to bless others or yourself. So for me personally, witchcraft is the practice of magic, but it is a tool and a way of life that can either harm or curse someone else or yourself in your home, your loved ones, or it can be used to bless and improve your home, your family, your loved ones, and your friends, including yourself. I've run into a lot of people, including people who are closest to me, And even with my fiance, he wasn't too keen, wasn't too happy about the fact that I was and still am very happy with being a witch, and I label myself as such. He has kind of actually opened himself more to it, but in the past, years ago, he was not open to it because he automatically felt, based on what religion may have told him or educated him about witchcraft, there's a lot of people who believe that witchcraft is bad. I've run into people who have told me that witchcraft, like, that's scary, like, why do you practice that? Like, what got you into that? Who upset you? And it's like, no, I'm actually really happy. Witchcraft has actually improved my life. It is a way of life for me. I practice it every single day. I'm not perfect at it. Okay, I've been a witch for over a decade now, and I still don't believe that I've learned everything about witchcraft. I don't believe that that's something that you can do while you live and breathe. There's always something new to learn about your life. So yeah, witchcraft, it is magic, but that magic can be used to curse or bless. So just understand that spells, incantations, divination, even my tarot videos that I post here on a monthly basis as best I can, that is a form of divination. I speak to spirits. I speak to my spirit guides, my ancestors. They speak through me through the cards. And I also work with deities. I work with goddesses. So that is part of my practice on a day-to-day basis. I use witchcraft on a day-to-day basis to bless my home, to protect those I love, including myself, and to improve myself. And I also help others improve themselves through the magic and witchcraft that I practice. Once again, witchcraft is not all bad. It's actually mostly good. I think it's just the term witch, which was used throughout history as a derogatory term towards witches in the old days, towards women. I would say mostly women back then, who were against the church, or maybe they may not have been practicing magic. Maybe they were practicing science and they were really curious about technology or science and wanted to see what more the earth had to offer. And unfortunately, the church back then saw that as unusual, so they labeled it as witchcraft, and therefore there were a lot of women who were killed, and even young girls who were killed who were suspected of witchcraft. And I believe that nowadays, as history has transpired and things have evolved, we as witches, or people who label ourselves and take on that label and that lifestyle, we don't have a problem with being called a witch. I just think that a lot of people, because of the derogatory term that witch was back then, they have kind of carried that energy into this day and age, thinking that witchcraft is actually what the church labeled it as, evil. And it's not. It can be evil. You can definitely use magic and witchcraft to perform evil tasks towards people, but it is not all that at all. And I never practice witchcraft to hurt anyone or to control anyone. It's my own personal practice, and I use it for good, and I use it to improve my life and to connect with the earth on a day-to-day basis. So I hope that that made sense. So that is what my definition of witchcraft is. Let me know in the comments down below what you think witchcraft is for you. Even if you're not a witch, what do you see witchcraft as an energy in your life, or based on what you've seen others practice in your life or in other areas of the world, or maybe even in your religion, which that's another video, because you don't necessarily have to be pagan or Wiccan. We'll get into that in another video. You can be a Christian and still be a witch. I run into Christian witches too, but that's a whole nother video. Why am I a witch? I am a witch because of, I would say it's a number of reasons. I grew up in a Christian cult, so I'm sure those of you who know what that means or what that feels like or have had that experience, I'm sure you probably can understand why I left and why Christianity or the church is just not for me personally. This is not me saying that Christianity or the Christian God and that realm is a bad place. It's a bad religion. I am not saying that at all. I respect all religions. I learn and take from all different types of religions of any tokens of wisdom that I can to improve my life. But the reason why I'm a witch is because it just resonates with me. when I was first introduced to witchcraft and I moved to go to college. I moved out of the state that I lived in. I used to live in Michigan. Moved away from Michigan, got away from my family and, you know, that cultish, religious, strict upbringing that I had experienced my entire life up until the age of 18. I had to realize that there is more to this life. There is more to this world than what I was raised to believe. I was very sheltered, so were my siblings, and we weren't really allowed to understand the world the way people or kids our age understood it. Our parents, they were good parents, but they protected us a little bit too much, to the point where we weren't allowed to go see movies that came out in theaters. You know, we weren't allowed to, you know, dress certain ways. We weren't allowed to wear jewelry. We weren't allowed to wear makeup. We were to do a lot of things, and we had to be very, very, very modest. And it just wasn't for me. I still try to practice modesty a little bit more in my life, but in different ways. But it was just way too much for me in that time of my life. And that was when witchcraft was introduced to me. It was actually through YouTube, and it was in my early 20s, and I just felt, this feels right. This just feels so much more liberating. It was very liberating. It was very refreshing. And it was actually about a year after I got baptized in my 20s that I realized, this isn't for me. This Christian, you know, religious type of upbringing, this religion is not for me. So what other walks of life spiritually can I implement into my day-to-day life that's going to improve me as a person? And so witchcraft was the way to go. And it is such a huge realm. It is such a vast world, witchcraft. And it is not what some people / religions say it is. You know, a lot of religious people that I have come across, they, you know, they're very kind, but there are some of them who are very biased. And I don't want to sound biased in this video at all. You know, it's my experience. This is my way of life. And if it doesn't work for other people, that's fine. Just like the religion that I was brought up in didn't work for me, you know. But I still have friends who still are, you know, they're sticking to that religion, to that cult, and that's fine. They're happy, they're doing well. And, you know, it just that I was the one that I just decided I'm done. I'm okay with not being a part of that, you know. And I'm actually really happy. My life has changed in such a positive way ever since I let go of, I guess, organized religion. And I am a free spirit. I'm a free person. I'm a Leo. So, you know, and it's, I don't really like being put in a box. I don't like really being told that I can or can't do something, you know, that normal people can do. You know, I don't like being told that I have to only subject myself to one God. You know, it's because there's so many religions out there, very ancient religions, that worship multiple deities, and those cultures and civilizations have thrived for thousands of years, you know. So that's why I have chosen this path for myself, because it makes me happy. It's improved me. It's made me a healthier human being. And it's also helped me to attract amazing people in my life who support what I believe in, even if it's not something that they embrace for themselves in their walk of life. I hope that made sense. So I'm going to stop rambling about that. So let's go ahead and jump into the third topic. What type of witch are you? And I'm asking the audience this, if you consider yourself a witch, if you have taken on that way of life. If you haven't, and you are just wondering what kind of witch I am, I just consider myself a witch, really. I guess I land under the energy of, or under the label of Hearth Witch, because I love my home. You know, I work with goddesses that have a lot to do with the home, with family, and I guess divine femininity and motherhood. Even though I'm not a mother, but, you know, I feel like I am a divine mother with, you know, certain people in my life. I am somewhat of a caregiver spiritually, but I found a lot of balance with that, and I've improved in that area of my life. And for me, yes, I consider myself a hearth witch, but I also practice kitchen witchery. I practice earth witchery. I have my own personal garden. I go out and forage for herbs, making sure that it's ethical and making sure that I'm respecting the earth when I go forage for herbs and use it on my altar or use it for different spells and rituals. So I guess I kind of lump myself into, I guess, kitchen witch, hearth witch, and earth witch, which I feel like is kind of all the same in a way, even though they do have their differences. So I consider myself a hearth witch, but if anybody ever asks me, you know, what am I or what type of witch I am, I just say I'm a witch. That's it. You know, but I guess personally, I label myself as a hearth witch, if that makes sense. As far as if there are those of you watching this who are witches yourselves and you're not really sure what type of witch to label yourself, I don't really think, is that important? I don't know. Is it important to you? I think that's the more important thing. Do you feel the need to label yourself as a divination witch, as an elemental witch, you know, whether you work with the elements, you know, earth, wind, fire, water, right? Do you consider yourself a sea witch? Do you consider yourself an earth witch, you know? Do you consider yourself a hedge witch? You know, hedge witches go back in time for many centuries in Europe. There are a lot of witches out there. There are witches who work with poisonous plants. They study those types of plants. They use potions, you know, obviously not to ingest them, but they use them in their rituals and spells. There are many different types of witches. I can't even go through. I'll probably put a list next to me of many other witches out there, whether you're male or female, doesn't matter your gender. It's really up to you. If you're a witch or if you're aspiring to be one and you're trying to figure out what kind of witch am I feel that you have the power to determine that. It took me a while to determine what type of witch I was. Whatever resonated with me, which is the earth and cooking and my home. You know, so that is completely up to you. Okay, and for those of you who want more information on what type of witches there are as far as labels are concerned, I can do another video on that. But I know that there's a lot of videos out there on TikTok and Instagram and maybe even on YouTube where they'll say, you know, if you have this special ability and if you do this more often than most people, then that makes you a witch. I don't really believe that. It really depends on you. Okay, you don't have to have a special ability to be a witch. Witchcraft is a way of life. It is a practice. It is a craft, hence the word witchcraft. So it is a craft. Crafting is all about practice. It's about doing it as often as you can to get better at it, right? So that is my spiel on what kind of witch is out there, what type of labels there are, and you know, you guys decide. For those of you who do want to label yourselves, you decide what kind of witch are you, you know? Like I said before, be careful what you find on social media about witchcraft, okay? You do have witch talk. I've been on witch talk just to kind of see and peruse around and see what's out there, and sometimes I just kind of feel a little bit annoyed where people post certain things that really have nothing to do with witchcraft. It just seems witchy, that, you know, and just be very careful. I really want you guys to understand that witchcraft is not a trend, okay? When you go onto social media, a lot of things can be easily turned into a trend. To be a witch, I became a witch not because it was cool. I mean, it was cool to me, but I didn't become a witch when people thought it was cool. It wasn't a trend, you know. I don't believe that a decade ago, like, I don't believe witchcraft was a trend. I didn't become a witch because I thought that my loved ones and my friends would think that I'm cool. If anything, I got a lot of backlash. I had to be a closet witch for many years before I actually recently, I would say in the past 3 years, kind of came out of the closet as a witch, even though I've been a witch for a decade. So being a witch or practicing magic in a world, or I would say in my country as an American, where it's predominantly, I guess, Christian, organized religion, it's not easy. It's really not easy to come out of the closet, the witch closet, the broom closet, I would say. So be very careful what you find on social media when it comes to advice and tips on what works for when it comes to witchcraft and rituals, witchcraft has a lot to do, like I said, with practice and experience. So I'm only coming from my experience. I will come out with a video about the herbs that I use on my altar, the ointments that I use, and why, but that's because they work for me, okay? I have had experiences, good and bad, with my craft where I made mistakes, and you know, that's how you get better at your craft. So please, please, please be very careful about what you find on Google and social media, because it can be very misleading. So if you have a witch that you know and trust in your life, or you have someone who practices magic, ask them, you know what I mean? And you know, even challenge what I'm saying in this video. If you feel that there's, you know, something that I'm saying and you're like, oh, I don't really know if that's true or not, look it up. You know, try practicing it yourself if you feel open to that, and determine if that's for you or not. Once again, this is not me trying to convert anybody and tell anybody that the way I practice is the right way. So just remember that, guys. Witchcraft is not a trend. It is a way of life. It should be respected, okay? And before you have any opinion on it or say anything to anybody about witchcraft of how bad it is, maybe just open yourself up to understanding what witchcraft is first. If you haven't practiced it before, you can't really have an opinion on it, really. I mean, you can, you know, you're entitled to your opinion, but you can't expect someone to just change their entire way of life because you think that it's bad or you think it's uncomfortable. Then just don't practice it. Don't have anything to do with it if it's uncomfortable for you. But it may be something that's actually working out for someone else in their life. No one is a perfect witch. That's what I put. I guess it's not really much of a question, but it says no one is a perfect witch. This is what I wrote. We are all learning. You will make mistakes. Learn from them to improve. Perfection blocks your craft. I've learned this the hard way, where I've done rituals and spells and I felt I was going according to a book, or, you know, to the textbook of witchcraft, whatever that is. And again, I was following what other witches were doing. Some things worked, some things did not. I've done protection rituals and was not really careful about the incantation or the words I was using, and then the outcome was not what I was anticipating, or sometimes it wasn't even what I wanted. Be very careful, guys, for those of you who do practice witchcraft, or you're thinking about possibly performing a spell or a ritual. Again, you don't have to be a witch to do that, but if you're just trying to kind of dabble in it a little bit, just understand you don't have to be perfect at it right off the bat. It takes time. It really does. It's only going to perfect itself if you open yourself up to making mistakes and you're just like, just go with the flow with it, right? You learn from it. So if you ever run into someone within the occult, I would say, I've run across people who are like, you're not doing that right. That's not correct. That's not this, that's not that. And it made me feel more anxious about what I was doing. And when you put that energy, it's all about energy and your vibration of your body and your soul and your heart and mind. So when you're going to do a ritual or a spell, whatever that spell or ritual is, whether it's to protect your home, protect someone, you know, to help someone improve in a relationship, or giving yourself clarity in a situation, or helping someone else gain clarity in a situation if that's what they desire. When you put anxiety surrounding perfection into your ritual, your spirit guides or ancestors or deities, they're going to feel that. So understand that what you put out as a frequency energetically into your rituals, that will manifest, okay? So if your rituals don't really come out the way you want them to because you're so scared, or you're so anxious about it and you feel like I'm not doing it right, it's because you're feeling anxious about not being perfect. Just go with the flow. Just put your positive energy into your rituals, okay? Have faith and confidence that your spirit guides or your deities or creator is there right by your side, you know, to answer your prayer. So, or, you know, to answer your incantation or whatever ritual you're performing. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Perfection blocks your craft. So don't think about perfection, okay? Just understand you're a human being first. You're gonna make mistakes, but those mistakes, learn from them. Don't beat yourself up over a mistake or a ritual or a spell that didn't go well because you didn't say something right, or because you didn't necessarily use the right herb, or if you're experimenting with the herb and it didn't really go well, just move on, learn from it, and try not to make that mistake again as best you can. It's a practice. What my craft has taught me. This is my own personal experience, okay? What has witchcraft taught you if you practice witchcraft? You know, again, put it in the comments down below if you would like to share. I read all my comments, so I'm always looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say about these topics. What my craft has taught me personally throughout the years is that God definitely exists, but not in the way religions have said God exists as. I was brought up to believe that there is only one God, and if you worshipped any other God, you're going to hell, or you're a sinner, or you're a blasphemer, or you're pretty much just a horrible person who doesn't deserve a good life, and you don't deserve to be blessed by God. Again, that is a very harsh and, again, biased and very judgmental perspective to have, and that's just not the type of person that I am naturally. I don't like judging people without really knowing them. For me, I'm just a passerby. As long as you're not being evil to other people, as long as you're not hurting other people, if you're not hurting other living beings or animals or plants and trees, as long as we're taking care of our planet, and that means taking care of each other, and that in turn takes care of our planet and respecting our planet as we respect each other. I have no problem with people. I don't care what race you are, I don't care what culture you are, I don't care what kind of political views you may have. None of that really matters to me as much. What matters is what you do based on your religious beliefs. So if you believe that God exists and there's only one God, whether you're of any religion, it doesn't matter. If you believe in one God, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. However, to judge others who don't necessarily believe in one God, or people who don't believe in a God at all, everybody has their own experience, but to judge them wrongfully and to jump to a conclusion that they're sinners, or that they, they don't have a decent way of life is kind of bizarre to me. It's a concept and a perspective that I will never understand. And it's because I came from a religious background, where a lot of people that I grew up around were very judgmental of everyone, and was constantly telling us that everyone's going to hell, everybody is, going to be damned, and that Satan is taking over and all of these things. And, for me, it's like, I do the best that I can for myself and for the ones that I love in my friendship circles, in my relationships and for my home. So, yes, I do believe that a God exists. But who that God is, there's many of them. There's many gods out there that people worship. And I don't necessarily worship deities. I work with them. I see them as a part of me, as a part of the human population. Like, we have God energy or goddess energy inside of us, but that's my personal belief. If you don't believe any of that and you're just like, I don't believe that there's a God at all, cool. As long as you're a good person, you're treating people well, you treat people with respect, you respect yourself, right? And you're doing the best that you can for the collective improvement and growth, fine, But for me, witchcraft and magic has definitely showed me, like, wow, there are beings out there, who I've had experiences, through astral projections or dreams or whatnot, and in my day-to-day life, who have shown me we exist. Not a lot of people believe that we do, but we do, right? So it's really given me more of a healthier perspective and view of what deities are, what God is, is he male or female, or are they male or female? I feel like it's all of the above, honestly, right? So what do you think? What has witchcraft taught you, right? If you are a witch and if you're practicing, what has it taught you over the years? Whether you're a baby witch, you're just beginning, or you've been a witch for years and years and years. What has witchcraft and your way of life as a witch taught you? So it also, part of this this question here, or comment that I have on here, it's also taught me to mind my business. Witchcraft has definitely helped me understand that I don't have to be worried about what other people are doing, as long as they're not trying to infiltrate my peace and intrude on my personal space, you know, whether I'm out and about, whether it's my home, my relationships with other people, you know, it doesn't matter. I can care less about what people believe, you know, as long as what you believe in is not hurting other people, it's not interrupting other people's peace of mind, right? It's not interrupting other people's relationships. As long as we are not hurting other people or animals or, you know, any living being on this planet. I consider a living being a tree, a flower, you know, blades of grass. As long as we're not hurting living beings, including ourselves and other people, I would say I just mind my business. It's being stressed out about what other people are doing, you know. It's just not. I believe in standing up for what I believe in when it's being interrupted or when it's being disrespected, for sure. But I don't necessarily feel the need to preach or to convert or to tell people, well, witchcraft is real and, you know, why don't you believe in it? And this is why you should believe. It's like, if you don't want to believe in witchcraft, it's fine. It's no skin off my nose, really, if you do or don't. But if you do and you want to, you know, and you want to understand it more, and you want more education on it as best as I can give it on this channel, I'm more than happy to do that. But I am not pressed to prove anything. So I've just learned witchcraft has taught me to mind my business, period. Okay. And it's also taught me to create peace in the midst of chaos, and that even chaos is a necessity of the universal shifts. So yeah, that is overall what witchcraft has taught me, just to be at peace with myself, be at peace with what I believe, be at peace with what doesn't work for me anymore, being at peace with what does work for me, even if it doesn't work for someone else, being at peace with having certain beliefs and certain ways, a certain way of life that may be disagreeable to other people. I'm not here to be necessarily agreeable. I'm here to be respectful. I'm here to be, to spread love. I'm here to spread positivity and higher vibrational energies. I'm not here to pander to anyone's beliefs at all, but I'm also not here to disrespect what you believe. So, you know, if this video has done anything, I just hope that it has educated you guys in some way based off of my experience as a witch and as a spiritual practitioner. So I don't want you walking away from this feeling like convicted of anything. You know, follow your own convictions, you know, as a soul, but don't feel that this is me saying, well, if you don't believe in this and you walk away from this and you still don't believe in it, like you're a bad person. Absolutely not. That's not what I believe. If you walk away from this and you're like, oh, witchcraft is still not my thing, still makes me uncomfortable, but at least I walked away from it learning a little bit more based on this person's experience, cool. That's it for this video, you guys, of magic and a brew. Once again, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below of what more you would like to see on my channel, what answers to questions you would like to hear from me, and also speaking about your experiences as well. So much love and light to all of you. I wish you guys the very best of luck on this journey. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.